Today topic is income from salary under Income Tax Act 1961. I am Ishwar Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Management, Management Education Research Institute, New Delhi. Basis of charges, Section 15. What is the meaning of the Section 15? Section 15 deals with the basis of charges. Salary is chargeable either on due basis or receipt basis, whichever is earlier. For example, if you are working in a company where you are taking salary, that salary will be taxable either on receipt basis or due basis, whichever is earlier. In case of the advance salary, for example, if you are an employee, you are getting an advance salary from the company. So that advance salary will be taxable in the year of the payment. So if that advance salary is taxable in the year of the payment, the same salary will not be taxable in the year in which it will become due. Similarly, in case of the area of salary, if you are an employee, if your salary is due, and if that area of salary has already been assessed on due basis, the same cannot be taxed again when it is paid. There is a simple thing. In case of the advance salary, like for example, in 2025, in April 2025, if the salary of January, like for example, if my salary is due in the month of the January 2025, but due to some reasons, I need salary. So I say to my employer, I need salary in advance. So when I will get the salary in advance, that salary will be taxable in the year of the payment by the employer. But you must remember, the same salary will not be taxable in the subsequent year. Like for example, in January 2025, because I have already taken advance salary of January 2025 in the month of the December. So the payment month is the December 2024. The same salary will be taxable either in the month of the December or in the month of January. So similarly, in case of the salary area, like for example, if my salary is in area, so in case of the area, if the salary is due on assessed on the due basis, the same cannot be taxed again when it will be actually paid. What is the meaning of the salary, perquisite, profit in lieu of salary under Section 17? So first of all, we will understand what is the meaning of the salary. Under Section 17, subsection 1, the meaning of the salary includes wages, annuity, pension, any type of gratuity, any fee, commission, perquisite, profit in lieu of salary or in addition of the salary, any advance of the salary, any payment received in respect of any period of the leave not availed of by the employee. Like for example, we say leave salary, provident fund. The provident fund of any kind of the provident fund, like I am talking about the recognized provident fund. So if the amount of the taxable recognized provident fund will be considered under the head of the salary. Similarly, the contribution which are made by the central government or any other employer in the previous year to the account of the employee under the pension scheme referred to in section 80CC will also be included under the head of the salary. So first of all, under the head of the salary, we generally study there are the three important things. Number one, there is an allowances. Number two, second, the gratuity, like amount which is paid after the retirement. So these are called the benefits after retirement. Third one is called as a perquisite. So one by one, I'll take this. Number one, we will take the allowances. So allowances under the Income Tax Act 1961, it is divided into three parts. Number one, allowances which are 100% exempted from tax, allowances which are 100% taxable under the Income Tax Act 1961, and third one, where allowances which are received by the employee, it is partly exempted and partly taxable under the Income Tax Act 1961. So there are the allowances which are fully exempted from tax. Number one, allowances granted to the government employees outside India or the citizen of India by the government of India. That allowance will be fully exempted from tax. It means there is no tax over such kind of the allowances. Number two, Allowances granted to the High Court judges. If the allowances are provided to the High Court judges, it will be 100% exempted from tax. Now, number 3, sumptuary allowances granted to the either High Court judges or Supreme Court judges, it will be exempted from taxes, 100% exempted from tax. Similarly, allowances paid by the United Nations organization to its members, it will be exempted from taxes. Compensatory allowances received by the judges, it will be exempted from tax. So what is an exact meaning of the allowances granted to the government employees outside India? So allowances or perquisite paid or allowed by the government of India to a citizen of India for the services rendered outside India are exempt from taxes. So a student must remember that in such cases, under Section 9, Subsection 1, Clause 3, the income chargeable under that salary is deemed to accrue in India. Allowances granted to the High Court judges, what is an exact meaning of this? Any allowances which are paid to the judges of a High Court under Section 22 capital A subsection 2 of the High Court Judges Condition of Service Act 1954, it is not taxable, it is exempted, 100% exempted from taxes. Allowances paid by the United Nations organization, that is called as a UNO, if any kind of the allowances paid by the UNO to its member, again it is not taxable by virtue of Section 2 of the United Nations Privileges and Immunities Act 1947. It is 100% exempted from tax. Similarly, compensatory allowances received by the judge, compensatory allowances received by judge under Article 222 subsection 2 of the Constitution is not taxable since it is neither salary nor perquisite. It is a famous case of the Vishambar Dayal versus CIT. Sumptuary allowances granted to the High Court or Supreme Court judges, if any kind of the sumptuary allowances which are provided to the High Court or the Supreme Court judges under Section 22C of the High Court Judges Act 1954 and Supreme Court Judges Act under Section 23 capital B of the Supreme Court Judges Act 1958, it is fully exempted from taxes. It is very important because it was these were the allowances which are 100% exempted from taxes. Now we will have to go through the fully taxable allowances. Those allowances which are 100% taxable under the head of salary, like dearness allowance, overtime allowance, fixed medical allowance, city compensatory allowance, interim allowance, servant allowance, project allowance, tiffin, lunch, dinner allowance, any other cash allowance, warden allowance, non-practicing allowance. So these are the allowances which are 100% taxable under the head salary. So this is very important, but one by one we will have to study what is the meaning of the city compensatory allowances, what do you mean by the overtime allowances, what do you mean by the dearness allowances. So these are the allowances, like for example, I am saying that there is overtime allowance. If you are an employee in an organization, you do the overtime work. So as per the condition, as per the law and rules of that organization, if the company is providing, if your organization is providing overtime allowance, like for example, you are working since 9 to 5 and thereafter due to the urgency of the work, you do the overtime. So in that case, that organization will pay you overtime allowances. That overtime allowances will be the part of your salary that will be 100% taxable. So there is a list of the partly exempted and the partly taxable allowances. Entertainment allowance, house rent allowance, these are the allowances which are not fully exempted, neither fully exempted nor fully taxable. So first of all, entertainment allowances. This allowances is given to the employees to meet the expenses towards hospitality in receiving customers. The Income Tax Act gives a deduction towards entertainment allowance only to the government employees under Section 16 subsection 2. It means in case of the entertainment allowance, there is no exemption, there is no relief to the non-government employees. To the non-government employees, it is 100% taxable. To the non-government employee, if it is 100% taxable, so to the government employees, it is exempted to some limit. So what is that exempted limit to the government employee in case of the entertainment allowance? So there is a formula like list of the following will be exempted from tax, like rupees 5,000, 20% of the salary, actual entertainment allowance received. So what will be the meaning of the salary in case of the entertainment allowance? The meaning of the salary in case of entertainment allowance will be the basic salary only. So obviously when we are talking about the entertainment allowances, so in case of the entertainment allowance, so actual amount of the entertainment allowance minus my exempted amount, the remaining amount will be taxable under the head salary. Now we will go through about house rent allowance. What is the meaning of the house rent allowance? House rent allowance are provided by the company to its employees. For example, if the employees are working in a company and employees do not have house, so in that case, the company can provide, if there is a rules and regulation, the accommodation will be provided to the employees, or employees can take on rental basis in the market any kind of the houses for their residential purposes. That will be called as a house rent allowance. But you all must remember, in case of the house rent allowances, it is not 100% taxable, neither 100% taxable nor 100% exempted. It is partly exempted and partly taxable to certain limit. And what is that limit? So the rule is that 50% or 40% of the salary. Number 2, rent paid minus my 10% of the salary. Number 3, actual amount of the HRA received. So you all must remember, when we are talking about the 50% or the 40% of the salary, 50% you will take in case of the metropolitan city. For example, you are an employee in Delhi, so Delhi is known as a metropolitan city. If you are working in a company, in that case, company will provide you the house rent allowance. So in this case, you will take 50%. Like for example, you are working in Kerala, you are working in Haryana, you are working in Uttar Pradesh. These are called as a non-metropolitan city. So in this case, you will take 40% of the salary. But the important thing is that in case of the house rent allowance, what is the exact meaning of the salary? The meaning of the salary in case of the house rent allowance will be the basic salary plus my DA forming part of the salary plus my commission if it is based on the fixed percentage of the turnover. So you all must remember, when we are talking about the dearness allowance, so dearness allowance you will take forming part of the salary. Commission, if it is achieved as a fixed percentage of turnover, then you will take. Otherwise, you will not take. So there are the other allowances, like other allowances under this list. There is a children education allowances, hostel expenditure allowances, transport allowances, city compensatory allowances. So one by one we will go through all these things. So number 1, there is a children education allowances. So what is the meaning of the children education allowances? Like for example, if the employee is working in a company, and in that company there is a rule that employees can get the children education allowances on behalf of their children. So in that case, as per the Income Tax Act 1961, so there is a limit. Like for example, if the employee is getting children education allowance, like for example, I am an employee in a company, I am getting children education allowance. So in that case, the entire amount of the children education allowance which are provided by my employer will not be taxable. So exemption under the head Income Tax Act in respect of the children education allowance will be allowed rupees 100 per month per child up to a maximum of 2 children. For example, if an employee is getting children education allowance at the rate of rupees 200 per month for 3 children, that as per the Income Tax Act, so under the Income Tax Act, he will be allowed exemption of rupees 100 each child per month, per child, maximum 2 children. And in this case, total children education allowance which is received by the employee will be 200 multiply 3, because number of the children are 3, and multiply 12, because on the annual basis I am going to calculate the total. On the annual basis I am going to calculate the total education allowance. So total amount that I will get, or the employee will receive, 7,200. And as per the Income Tax Act, now there is an exemption limit, rupee 100 per child, maximum 2 children per month. So in this case, 2,400 will be exempted in respect of the children education allowances. So actual amount of the children education allowance received minus exempted will be taxable, and this amount will be included in your salary. So in this case, amount 77,200 minus my exempted amount 2,400, the amount will be 4,800. It will be a part of the salary. Similarly, when we are talking about the hostel expenditure allowance, if any allowance is granted to the employee to meet the hostel expenditure allowance, so exemption will be provided to the employees, maximum two children at the rate of the rupees 300 per month. For example, if an employee has 3 children and employer is providing hostel expenditure allowance to that employee at the rate of rupees 200 per month for 3 children, so in this case 7,200 he will receive from the employer as an expenditure allowance. Expenditure means hostel expenditure allowance. So out of these 300 per month, maximum 2 children are exempted from tax. So in this case, if he is getting rupees 200 per month per child for 3 children, so you will do 200 multiply 3 children multiply 12. So the amount will be 7,200, which is received by the employee. And out of this, maximum amount is rupees 300, which is exempted to per child of the employee. So in this case, 300 multiply 2 multiply 12. So 7,200, it will be exempted from hostel expenditure allowance. The taxable amount will be nil. Now there is a transport allowance. What is the meaning of the transport allowance? It is very important. Any transport allowance granted to an employee to meet his expenditure for the purpose of commuting between the place of his residence and the place of his duty shall be exempted to rupees 1,600 per month. But it is equally important to remember that if the employee, like for example, for a person who is a blind or deaf or dumb or orthopedically handicapped with disability of the lower extremities of the body, to meet his expenditure for commuting between his residence and place of duty, the maximum amount will be 3,200 per month. It will be exempted from tax. We have discussed about the city compensatory allowances, like earlier we have done those allowances which are 100% taxable, and in that list there is a city compensatory allowances. City compensatory allowances are normally intended to compensate the employees for the high cost of the living in the city. Like for example, if the employees are living in Delhi city, in Mumbai city, in Kolkata city, where the cost of living are very high. So in this case, the employer provides the city compensatory allowance. Once the city compensatory allowance is provided by the employer, so it is very important that such kind of allowances will be included under the head of the salary, in the salary of the employee. Thank you.